On two. Ready? Hey!
Welcome. What is going on?
Y'all know what it is. You know what it is, man. This is a football frame of mind podcast YouTube channel, man. We all over the place, man. I told you, we are on a run right now when it comes to these interviews, man. So we love it. We love doing this part of it. It's our interview time series, man, and we getting into it, man. This makes the off season very fun. So I'm really glad that all of you guys are tuning into it. So we happy. So go ahead, bring them in. Bring in our guests, Brandon. Come on.
Well, we really appreciate your time, first of all. Busy guy. We know you got a lot of stuff going on. So we want to welcome Mr. Breiden Fehoko. Yeah, correct?
Correct.
Tiger, former NFL player. The man is making moves, man, in the podcast game all over the states, man. How's it going today?
Man, I'm trying to get like you guys. I'm fairly new to the media world, and I'm figuring this shit. I'm figuring this out. Slowly by slowly. I'm editing, producing, scripting everything on my own right now, and I'm clipping everything. And so, I'm getting out the mud. I'm pretty much a rookie in this media game. I'm no longer a veteran in the football world. So I'm in it, man. I'm trying to earn my stripes. It's cool though. It's a cool hobby. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate talking about things that I'm passionate about. And so, I'm able to do that. I'm able to come on podcasts and shows like this and be able to spread the word, talk about the game that I love and hold dear to my heart. And, just be able to, share the word with good guys like you fellow folks and, give the viewers something they appreciate and something they look forward to listening to.
Where can they find you, by the way? Where can our audience find you, sir?
So if you guys head over to my X page on Twitter, that's at Breiden Fehoko. You can follow me there. You can follow me on YouTube at Breiden Fehoko 96. Give me a follow. Give me a shout, man. I'm pretty active. I try to stay active. I try to, now that I'm retired, catch up with everybody that's and anything that's going on under the sun, man. And whether it's, fans or coaches or, fellow players, athletes, whatever it is, I'm trying to reply. I'm trying to get back to everybody. I'm trying to answer every question possible. And I'm trying to push out as much content as I possibly can while also balancing, the normal day-to-day routines of, being a father and being a husband.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, it's a grind, bro, but you got the right mindset. I think a lot of people get discouraged early on and they don't just put in the hours and the work, but it's all about consistency. It's all about that grind, and you really enjoying what you're doing, then, you're going to go places. And we're still moving too. We're not the biggest thing either. The last year or two have been really good.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. You guys are killing it, man. You guys almost 40K subs on YouTube, man. And shoot, you guys are 60 away from 100, getting that, that certified silver plaque from YouTube.
Yeah.
So
trying, bro.
That's my goal. I grew up watching a bunch of YouTubers and all that, and getting to see and knowing guys that I talk to now that have their own shows, that have their own pod. The patented silver YouTube 100K subscriber plaque. Man, I'm trying to get that. So you guys are close. I'm way behind, but I'm trying to build up some legs in this race and trying to catch up to the big dogs.
So if we make 3 years this month at the end of the month.
Congratulations.
And man, if you ever have any questions, any pointers, inbox is always open, man.
For sure. I'll take you up on that for sure.
Yeah, because like I said, if you've seen our early stuff, man, like Zoom call, man, like yeah, like we recorded and everything.
The content was great though. The content was great. Just the quality had to, glow.
Quality was like, yo, what am I watching?
But this is cool. Like, I use StreamYard, or I'll go back and forth between StreamYard and Riverside. I got accounts with both. Depending on what I like to do. If I'm doing live, I go on StreamYard. If I'm doing a recording, I'll go on Riverside. So it's a lot of cool things. And I think one of the best things is, man, it's everything in all these websites and these platforms make it so self-sufficient for you to just up and produce. Like I could never see myself 5-6 years ago getting an account, recording, publishing, producing, cutting up, and AI automatically cutting up things for you. You can clip things now, and so man, it's the game has changed, and it's made it easier for guys like me who are stepping into this space that's all new. And I'm just like, hey, oh, AI wants to clip this clip from this part of the recording. Sure, let's do it. And I'm just one click away. I'm posting it to YouTube. Now I'm learning how to edit and do all these and make thumbnails and all that good stuff. So, and I'm having a blast doing this, but it is a grind. I got so much respect for guys like you two and everybody else in this realm who's doing it, killing it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it was a long journey, man. Like I said, me and Brandon went to high school together, so he was like behind me 1 year. So we just reconnected, just talking ball, and it was like, well, why don't we just start a podcast doing it? Like we do this anyway, the back and forth banter. So why don't we just do it? So and we got started just doing that. And like I said, now we've been chilling. You know what I'm saying? And it's been fun, man. Like I said, we've been through ups and downs because we both got wives, we both got kids. So it's like it's a grind. And like I said, not everybody sees the vision, right? But it's not for them, It's not
Yeah,
their it's
that's
not
true.
their it's not their journey to be on, in a sense. So that's kind of what
Well
it is.
said. It's well put.
We talked to we had Matt Moscona from History of
Yep,
Bat- we had him
Matt.
on
Yep.
almost a
Good
year
guy.
ago, and I went back and forth with him for a while. I'm like, man, like, how do you get into your line of work, yada yada, whatever. He's like, man, y'all are doing it. He's like, where you guys are at, most people quit long before that.
Yeah.
So to hear someone that's been in the game that long be like, just keep doing what you're doing, it's encouraging to know you feel like you're doing it right,
That's cool. I like that. That's good advice. Shout out Matt. Matt's a good dude. I need to
Yeah,
get back on
yeah.
his show.
Yeah.
He's been reaching out, but I've been so busy,
Yeah,
man.
he ain't got no love for Bama though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Nobody got
way.
love for Bama, man.
He
Nobody.
does. He does.
I do.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
do.
so it's 2-on-1, so it's okay.
Yeah.
oh
But
man.
it's
Yeah.
it's okay.
He
It's all
said,
right, man.
hey, he's like, yo, I think I'm gonna go.
Hey man, we're gonna have to cut this interview short now. I'm playing. I'm playing.
Nah, man. But you know what? I'm not like the Bama fans that are like bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They be talking shit. I'm a realist, right? I'm a realist. So I know like when a team's better, right? So when people say, "Oh, who's the best team ever?" or whatever, I give props to the 2019 LSU team because
All right.
me personally, that's the best. That's the best team I've seen. Period. I
Yeah.
like shit. How you gonna guard them? Ah,
Too
we
many
talked.
weapons.
We talked to Patrick Queen about it, and I was like, "Yo, how you gonna guard them? Like they got too much. You go 5 wide, right? You could go 4 wide, and then put Clyde and Lair at the 5 receiver. Then what you gonna do?
They got crazy underrated talent on defense though that doesn't really get credit either.
Look, we can talk about that, but
You're a defensive guy though. I'm
from
just
a
trying to give it
defensive
shine.
perspective, bro, I was like, "Yo, this is not fair, bro. It's not fair. Not
It's
fair."
just we got to a certain point that year where we were just like, as a defense, we just get 1 or 2 stops, and it didn't matter who we're playing. We just force this offense to punt 1 or 2 times, the game's over with. Because there wasn't a game outside of maybe that Auburn game in 2019 where I'm sitting there and I'm like actually worried about, oh, is this team actually going to give us some run today? But man, we went into games, man. We woke up with a mindset on Saturdays in 2019 during the fall, like, hey, get our offense, the ball back. We cooling. We're gonna run up that score. We cooling. And so you saw it. It was the name of the game. I mean, we had to lock in a little bit earlier in the Clemson game. They hopped out on us those first quarter and a half or so, and then we said, all right, we've kind of
stop playing around.
Yeah, we've had a little too much fun here. Let's get back to business. Let's go get wins. So I missed that year. It went by so quick. Like, it was a special year. It was legendary, but man, it goes by when you're having that much success, man. It goes by just like a blur, and you kind of don't learn to appreciate, in the moment, because we're just, we're doing this, or we're, having a dinner here, or we're meeting at a radio show here for certain guys, or we're doing autograph signing here, and a lot of things happen throughout the year And you don't just get to sit back and be like, wow, I'm a part of the 2019 LSU football team. We're number 4 in the nation right now. We're number 3. We're number 2. We're number 1. Like, you don't get to appreciate that until years later. Like, now we're sitting here talking about it, and I'm looking at my rings, and I'm looking at my jersey behind me and my helmet, and I'm like, wow, we really did that, and
I did.
and I'm just like, it's amazing that I get to now share these different memorabilia I have around the house with my son. He's 2. He's starting to understand what football is, and he's starting to see pictures of dad when dad played football, and he's starting to see my gear, my helmet, my jerseys, my cleats, and little things like that. So, man, I'm grateful, man. That was those times, those memories of that 2019 team was, and you guys had Patrick Queen on there. He probably talked about it, but those guys are my brothers. We're etched in history forever. That's gonna etch us as a brotherhood forever and ever. And so, super grateful, man. And it's I always get proud whenever I talk about it now, just because I'm trying to appreciate more what we did instead of kind of just being like, oh, vanilla at the point, where I'm like, yeah, it's cool, we won, but now that I'm done playing football, man, I just want to appreciate it more and give more.
Nah, man. Nah, you gotta talk your shit, man. Especially when these people, you gotta talk your shit, man. Look, as a Bama fan, dog, I've talked my shit a lot. I'm telling you, I've talked it a whole lot. So when y'all do something like that, as a person that was on the team in the trenches specifically, right? You gotta talk your shit, man. Y'all did y'all thing, bro. Like I said, and that was fun, man. And that was that was the last, like, before I joined the military, that was the last season that I really paid attention to, like, fully, because I was always doing some shit. But that was the last time, right? And I didn't know y'all put the whooping on Clemson like that. Because I was like, because I had seen, like, they had ESPN playing at something we was doing. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna check it out, right? I didn't know it was that bad. I was like, damn.
Dude, it's like he said, at the beginning of the game, it's not gonna say they came out flat, but Clemson tried to catch them, like, I guess, off guard and had a little bit of momentum. And it was like everybody sat down like, okay. Let's just do our thing, go home.
Chill.
Just lock in real quick. It's gonna be all right.
That's exactly what we said on the sideline. Like, when they hopped out on us, we came out. We was like, all right, chill. Like, everybody chill. Y'all good?
Yeah.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
Then we kind of looked at each other like, yeah, we cool. And then we went out there and just rattled off. I think it was like 35 unanswered or 28, whatever the stat
no answer.
They had no answer. We just rattled off. But it was funny because, when we got there, man, everybody, we were hyped, looking at the crowd. We're in New Orleans, so we're home. It's a home game for us. We got celebrities on the sideline. I'm talking Odell over there, Lael Collins, Michael Brockers. I remember Ezekiel Elliott was there. I don't even know why he was there, but he was on our sideline. So, I was like, Michael Thomas, Ohio State, but he played for the Saints. Like, all these, like, iconic NFL players are there. And I'm just like, whoa. You feel me? Yeah. And so after we had our little fun, energy's running high. We were like, hey, chill. And we put that belt to him, and shoot, the rest was history. But no, it's great. I'm Cameron. I'm surprised that you still Bama fan after, kind of I feel like they've been underperforming the last few years, in my opinion.
Well, so like I said, for me being a Bama fan, it's a tough thing to see kind of the architect of what was the greatest dynasty in college football history from end to end, right? It's tough to see that end, right? So you got to look at it in a sense where that was the highest of high, right? That was like 2019 LSU for almost 20 years. Yep. So when you have that standard of excellence, it's going to be a drop-off. It was a drop-off between Bear Bryant and the next guy, right? But I was looking at the guy that took the job after Nick Saban had to have the stones of glory because nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody. Like, as soon as he retired, they interviewed such and such name. Oh, no, I'm good where I'm at. I'm interview Lanning. I'm good where I'm at, and then interview some NFL guys. Nope, I'm good where I'm at. Nobody wanted to touch that except for Kalen DeBoer.
I respect that.
Yeah, so for me, I was looking at it like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be a drop off, but let's see what he does when he gets his guys in there, right? Because Saban kind of retired before the transfer portal really started, right? So it's like, oh man, I gotta recruit the guys here, and I gotta recruit some guys coming in here. So what else can I do? So that's kind of where I was looking at. So now we're at what, year 3, year 4 of this
Year 4.
experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now he's getting his guys in there, right? So I want to see what it looks like. And we got an interesting QB battle going into the fall. So do we go with the guy who has the potential to take us further, or do we go with the experience, right? And Austin Mack, which in my opinion is not really that much of experience. And I think they're at an even playing field, Keelan Russell and Mack, because they haven't played that much. So I think when whoever he starts at quarterback is going to set the tone for what it is, right? I personally think you start the freshman. I think you start the freshman because now we can just build that around him. It's no, I gotta wait, like because if Mac goes off, it's like, man, I'm just gonna take my talents to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
But Russell has that eligibility thing, so you at least get 2 years out of him, and then you see what you can do. But that's my whole thing. I like the fact that he's kind of took it on the chin. He's like, hey, look, it's the SEC, man. Anybody can get beat any Saturday. So let's just keep building.
That's true. I just think I think he just gotta, especially with it's the same as LSU, with what they've been allocated at Bama, with all the money they've had to put into, roster and building that and the portal and just being the brand of Alabama. It's hard for me to give these college teams and college coaches a longer leash, especially with the way Indiana and Kurt Cignetti done his thing.
He ruined that for them.
He ruined it for any coach that has come in here and say, man, we got to build our thing. We need, let this system develop. Like I can't. I want to give you that leash, and it's the same with Lane Kiffin. Like, yeah, at minimum, you would like Lane Kiffin to make a playoff appearance this year, but like for me, seeing Kurt Cignetti do what he did in Indiana, in that
with no 5 stars,
with no 5 stars in 2 years, and Kurt Cignetti is one of the stingiest, and I mean he ain't gonna pay a dime, you know what I'm saying, and he ain't begging guys to play for him, and so
he's got the Bill Belichick approach. Like I ain't gotta pay you
100%. So I'm looking at these schools, and I'm looking at Bama, I'm looking at Georgia, I'm looking at LSU, and I'm looking at how much they're paying for these rosters, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, hey, bro. I get you want to make a playoff, and that should be the bare minimum. But man, I got to see playoff wins. I got to see a championship appearance. And I know you can only have 2 teams, but boy, you can't have Indiana do it in the time they did, and these SEC schools with the expanded playoff system. Like we can't fall short. We didn't even have an SEC team playing the Natty this year, so that's what I'm over here, and that's what I'm over here. I'm just, I'm tripping out about. I'm like, we got Miami. We got who was in the semis? It was Ole Miss versus Miami and Indiana versus
Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like Ole Miss was the last SEC team remaining. And no disrespect to Ole Miss.
No, but like any other year, you're gonna look at that and be like, I don't feel too good about that. Like if we're just going off of history, it's not like if you have an LSU, Bama, or Georgia, like you said, you're like, okay, well, I feel at least confident we can get someone in there. And like you said, no disrespect to Ole Miss. And even if they had all disrespect to Ole Miss, but
hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're good. But even if they had Lane in that situation, I still think they're gonna run into that brick wall. Like I think he got them. I'm not gonna say that was an anomaly. I think just he got everything to line up at the right time. He built everything right, and they caught fire. But I don't think that team makes it past them, even with him at the helm, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know Lane had said, I forgot what interview he was. It was kind of recently where he was like, if I was coaching, we win the national championship. I'll agree with you, Brandon. I felt like they peaked. I feel like Ole Miss kind of peaked to
you hit that ceiling.
Yeah, you kind of hit that
peaked
ceiling
too early, to be honest.
Way too early. And then they beat Tulane. They beat who do they play after Tulane? Who they beat Georgia, which was a credible win.
Oh yeah.
That was a great win. And Ole Miss has always, even earlier in the year, right? Ole Miss, Georgia, like they were neck and neck. So that was going to be a close game. But man, as far as these other SEC schools, and I'm specifically talking to Lane Kiffin, Caleb DeBoer, Kirby Smart, like, bruh, get on your ass, and I got to see some wins. And I'm specifically with Lane Kiffin, $40 million roster this year.
Oh,
bro.
no, if Lane year one, you need to either be in the playoffs or literally knocking on the door.
On the door. But the knocking on the door is like,
you just not making it like
we were a 10-2 team, and our two losses were like SEC Alabama and A&M or Ole Miss in
quality losses that you
and
barely miss.
Quality losses, but the thing is, there's like maybe 5 other SEC teams that went 10-2, and it just came down to visuals and all that, and there was 3 other teams that they could let in, and 2 didn't make the cut, and LSU was one of those 2 that. But we cannot go 10-2 this year and not make the playoffs. Like, it's got to be 10-2, make the playoffs, and if it's short, it's got to be by like that. You can't.
Look, and I don't want to harp on LSU too long because I got some cool stuff I want to ask you. But like when you look at, and we kind of had these kind of discussions with LSU over the last couple of years with BK there, and obviously that's a whole different thing we're not going to get into. But
yeah,
they come in here.
Although I did say it was either going to be or it's gonna be bad. It was
we both said it.
It was like this is a boom or bust hire, bro.
But my thing was like, you look at them, they get the number 1 portal class pretty much ever, just based off a star rating. Yeah, they do great in recruiting. They're still doing really great in recruiting in 27. You get your trigger man at quarterback that can do whatever you want. You're loaded at all the skill positions. You retain your defensive coordinator, which was probably the steal move of the offseason that nobody's talking about, because now you're retaining him and you still have Weeks coming back. Everything's geared up for you having to make that push.
Yeah,
I think a 10-win season's plausible. I don't think their schedule is that crazy, in my opinion. They get some very favorable matchups at home, especially like the harder teams or the more difficult options. I feel like almost all those games are at home. They get Texas at home.
Y'all still got the Alien?
Yeah, Trades is only a sophomore.
Yeah, okay. They got a good home slate. They got Alabama at home. They got A&M at home, I believe.
They got Texas too.
They got Texas at home, and then they have. I don't know if Auburn's at home. I'm not sure.
I think that one's at the Voodoo House.
Okay, that place is. But some of the main heavyweight games like A&M and Alabama, having them at home is
that's a huge advantage.
Huge.
You have to have, especially in year 1, since you're not going to get the Ole Miss game in Baton Rouge this year, which is that's just going to be crazy in Oxford. That's just going to be freaking bananas. But
September 19th, I believe. I got that date circled.
If they win a game like that, and I think that gives you a ton of momentum going into your home stretch against some of those harder teams.
Yeah,
because they play Ole Miss and A&M back to back. So it's Ole Miss, and they come back and play A&M at home. So, they go to A&M this year because A&M was at home last year.
That's true, because the year before was that game in A&M they should have won, and they fumbled it away.
They fumbled it. So that's 2 back-to-back games. That's going to be a tricky 2-piece of a schedule early in September.
If you got to win one of those, you got to win one. This game, you got to win the Ole Miss.
Got to win one.
I'll take the L to A&M because you have the quarterback coming back.
Yeah. I'm totally in agreement with you there. They got to win one. I'll be happy if you go 2-0, but you can't drop both there, because if you drop both there,
you got to fight.
It's a very uncomfortable situation early on, and I don't think they will. I think the defense will be good. If Levitt's really 100% early on with the weapons and the offense that Weiss and Kiff are going to run, I think they'll be fine. And they got a whole new offensive line, whole new scheme. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I when I think about Lane Kiffin, obviously being a Bama guy, he took Saban's offense into the 25th century. All right,
he did.
Because usually it was, hey, we gonna beat you up, you gonna feel every run, and we might beat you with the play action. So when I think about Lane Kiffin, I know he can win with any quarterback. Hell, he made Blake Sims into a playoff quarterback, okay? everybody was like, Jay Coker is gonna be the starter, right? Nah, it wasn't like that. And Blake Sims led us to the playoffs that year, and he looked pretty damn good doing it. So if Lane Kiffin can do that, and you've seen what he's done with Ole Miss, right? Chambliss basically looked like one of the playoffs' most outstanding players, right? Even though he wasn't there down the stretch, of course, but he can win with any quarterback, any style, and he can make it work with any team. So I think if I'm looking at LSU and year one, it should look pretty good because this is probably one of the better teams he's coached and really had his hands on since his time at Bama, right?
Talent wise, it's probably the most talent he's had on a roster that he gets to call the shots for.
Yeah.
So, he didn't have this level of talent at Ole Miss.
No, he's not. And that's been the takeaway is like you're finally
got everything.
Yeah, you got it. There's no more.
So you had no excuses. You have everything.
Yep, agreed.
But I am curious if we're talking about we're talking about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Coach O got his job back. You know, he's back in the building. He's having some fun. What was your experience like with him? Like whether it's through the recruiting process, like in college, like what's your relationship like with him, and how do you feel now that he's back in the building, able to produce for them?
Well, look, first and foremost, when I first heard he got the job back, I'm super excited. I reached out to him, spoke over the phone, and just kind of told him like, man, I'm glad somebody who represents the epitome of what it means to be an LSU Tiger is back in the building. And I'm not taking nothing away from Lane Kiffin and the wonderful staff he's hired. But Ed Orgeron gives you that you know what I'm saying, that to go in
approval too.
You know, and it's just if you haven't been around Ed and if you never played under him, you won't understand what I'm saying. But that culture that he's gonna bring in, and not just for the players, man. I felt like the hiring to me was also to check Lane a little bit. And LSU fans probably may not like what I'm saying, but it's kind of checking him on the immaturity a little bit. You know, before the hire, you saw the vanity articles come out, you saw the quotes, and whether or not Lane wanted that to come out or wanted that surface, you got to know who you're talking to. You got to know what quotes you're leaving out there for the public, and people are going to eat this stuff up. You're Lane Kiffin. You're no longer at Ole Miss, Lane. You're no longer coaching at Florida Atlantic or wherever he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're coaching at LSU now, and you're a staple, you're an icon, and people are going to take your words and they're going to clickbait it. They're going to use it as poster and material. And so bringing in Ed is good now because now, and it's not like Ed's going to babysit Lane, but I don't know if you guys have seen, but Lane's kind of toned it down a notch, right? He's not.
He's had the dial. I think he was really excited early.
He was
and
excited.
I don't think he knew how to materialize his words, and it's and there's no play, and you can speak for it, but LSU's different than anywhere else in the country, and I feel like Ed can give him that insight, and Ed can kind of ease him into like, hey, like this is how we carry ourselves, this is how we relate to our people. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like that's
You saw it early when Brian Kelly got the job and he was up there doing the fake accent. You saw he was up there doing the eyes with the recruits and stuff. And so, Verge and that front office staff, right, the higher ups at LSU, they made a decision. They said, hey, you know what? We spent a lot of money on Lane Kiffin. We spent a lot of money to buy out Brian Kelly. Please, God Almighty, get this thing right. And so how can we get it right? Cool. Ed Orgeron, come on, staff. We'll give you $100K. We just paid you a $15 million buyout. We know you're good on money, but hey, you know what? We'll give you a staff title. You'll be in charge of recruiting, but also behind the scenes, Ed, you're the guy that makes sure LSU is LSU. Whatever you see fit, you see guys not living up to the standard. That is your job, Ed, to go over there and tell them, not X's and O's. But if there's a guy and he's bullshitting at practice, Ed, your job is to go over there and tell him you either go out and you practice your ass off or you go turn in your pads and you go transfer somewhere else. And that's one thing that I appreciated about Ed was, man, he was a tough coach. Eddie O was a tough coach, man. We'd be out there in spring ball. We'd be out there in fall camp. And if you didn't want to be out there, man, Ed made it known. And it wasn't threats. It wasn't man, I was scared to mess up, man. It was, if you weren't down with the cause, if you weren't down to grind, if you weren't down to work hard, like, man, we weeded your ass out of here. Like, you were gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had guys hit the portal in August because we didn't need you on the train for September through January if you weren't going to be that guy, if you weren't going to be down with the cause. And so He's back, man. I love the hire. I love that he's back to just control and bring a calm presence back to the LSU culture that was missed during the Brian Kelly tenure. And like I said, man, Lane has everything. He's got the recruits, he's got the money, he's got the boosters, he's got the fan base backing him. The whole city and state of Louisiana is backing him. Now you got somebody who won it, who did it at a high level. He's here to mentor you. He's here to make sure that you can secure the deal with these recruits, bring in the best guys. So, Lane, we've made your job easy. You got to go win it.
No excuses.
No excuse. Like, if it's not this year, LSU has to win a national championship within the next 3 years. Like, that's that is not a high ask. That is not a big ask for Lane Kiffin. But if you don't win a championship in 3 years, you are gone. That is a fair enough ask for Lane Kiffin and LSU.
And I feel like the way the recruiting classes are looking, obviously, you still have to be able to put it together and develop guys. But when you look at that 27 class, they just snagged another 5-star. They got the number 1 tight end. They had the number 1 player overall. Like, they're building for long. And I think that's something he didn't have at Oxford, because you can't recruit those guys. So you have to be the portal king. But now over here, you're being the portal king, and you have access to damn near the best athletes in the entire country. So you can build in multiple avenues, and you have a guy who can go out there and get whoever you want.
Exactly.
Because he's won at the highest level, and kids like him. You know what I mean? So I think he's all the recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my thing about Coach O anyway, right? Because I remember Coach O kind of had a bad run at Ole Miss, right? And it was just early. It was early. It was early, and you had a lot going at that time, right? You trying to rebuild a program that technically is like a volcano of sorts, right? They got real high highs and they got real low lows, right? So you're trying to just get them back to where respectable, and you can't expect a new head coach to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, but when he got the LSU job, I was like, uh-oh. Because not only is he from Louisiana, right? Like, he is Cajun through and through. So there's no faking it. There's no when he goes into these living rooms to talk to these parents, like, he is speaking from experience. This is Louisiana. You're coming to Louisiana school. This is a big deal. I'm here because you're a big deal, and we want to make you a part of this big deal. That, when I seen him get that job, I was like, LSU is in a good spot. They don't need nobody else. He's perfect. He spits and drinks LSU all day, every day. That is what it felt like when he got his job. And I was like, yo, so y'all gonna fire this man, and he fits everything that you want LSU to be. I was like, that's gonna be a mistake, right? Because you can't expect your next teams to look like 2019. I told LSU fans that all over Twitter. I was like, yeah, we gonna win again. I was like, yo, do y'all know what y'all just did? Like, that's some serious shit. You can't sit there and think like, oh, we gonna run it back.
That took time to build that. That didn't just get
right. They whole team played on the NFL's squad. Like, yo, that's tough to do. You can't just expect that, right?
You can't replicate that right up after the.
No, that's damn near cheating, bro. Hey, so no, you can't expect that. So I was like, yo, that's a mistake to fire him. But to have him back in the building is, y'all right. I think it's a common thing. But I do think Lane Kiffin has matured a whole lot. Him and Sark are two of my favorite coaching stories, because they had these battles with outside stuff, and they come back and kind of reinvented themselves, right? Sark had to go through it. Lane Kiffin had to go through it. They lost some high-profile jobs just to come back stronger than ever. So I really like those type of stories, right? Because this is a job that I think Lane Kiffin has been chasing since USC, quite frankly, because I felt he had USC on the come up. They had always top 5 in offense. They was always winning about 9-10 games a year. So they was always on that ascend. So when they fired him, I was like, that's the no he needed to really rebuild himself. Because if you think about it, up until that point, what was it? Yes, to the Raiders. yes to Tennessee, yes to your dream job in USC. He got yeses all the way through the ladder, and now he finally got a no. So now it's like, okay, I gotta sit the fuck down for a minute, right, and really humble myself, and that's it, and that's
Yeah.
fine now.
Mhm.
But now this is the job he's been chasing. I personally think he wanted that Alabama job, but I think we knew we didn't have that horse rein. We could you can't stop Lane. If he would have got that job, I think he would have been like, yeah, it's really on now. But I think LSU is perfect though, because now you get to stick it to Alabama. You get to stick it to Ole Miss. You get to stick it to Tennessee. All the teams that you had to go through on your journey. So, but I do think the fact that he has a lot of backing from everybody, because this is the only job that made sense in my opinion. Penn State didn't make sense.
Florida didn't make sense. I don't
Florida
know
didn't
why.
make.
I'm like, dude, why would you leave a cush job to go somewhere and you win 9 games? But like, nah, you suck.
I
Yeah,
only thought
Florida hasn't been relevant in a decade.
I thought at when I was early on when Lane was like going through this, I was like, Florida. I thought they were a good landing spot strictly because of his ex-wife's history there
Mhm.
with Florida and her father, being a legendary coach there. And so, he has family ties to the Gators, right? But then as like time went by, I'm like, man, I feel like he could be staying in Ole Miss. He was posting the Bible, the weekly quotes or the daily quotes or whatever, and I'm just like, am I reading too much into it? Am I reading too much out of it? And lo and behold, man, it's Lane and whatever he's. And I think Nick Saban played a huge role in telling him like, hey, you'll have everything you've ever dreamed of as a coach expensed for you when it comes to recruits, facilities, top of the line, boosters, backing, former alumni, players, resources, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You will finally be at a place that is 1-to-1 when it compares to the Alabamas and Georgias of the world, where you no longer have to work extra hard to go and close that gap. You can now look at these top of the tier SEC schools and look at them eye to eye now if you're the head guy at LSU. So I after hearing Nick Saban talk about it, who is a huge influence on him, and then what LSU paid him, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it like, and going back to Brandon's question about the Coach O, hiring, like that's a great hire because you're looking at Coach O as $100K insurance on making sure that Lane Kiffin doesn't turn to Brian Kelly, right? If I sat here and asked you and asked the fans, like, hey, we're paying Lane Kiffin tens of millions of dollars a year, right? Would you take out an insurance policy for $100K and make sure that and that ensures you that he doesn't turn to Brian Kelly? Oh, it'd be a no-brainer. I don't care how bad the end of O's tenor was, and how ugly it got. I am going to pay that $100K to make sure my big $100 million investment,
Great investment.
great investment.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here and make sure that thing goes good.
But that's not something you see. Like, I feel like we're just now seeing that where guys will get let go and then brought back after. So, like, we talked about, like, and I don't want to get into everything because we still want to get to you. But, like, for example, like when Virginia Tech fired, I forget his name, they let him go and James Franklin got fired. And they hired James Franklin. Like, okay, well, we're going to bring homeboy back and he's going to be the DC. That's not something you see every day. So, like,
Hell no.
For Coach O to do what he did, and then obviously the debacle of what happened after, people thought, man, he's never going to be back there. It's never going to happen. And his name was always floating around with other jobs, especially this offseason. And they get Lane, and Lane, they're like, Lane's like, oh, well, Lane needs to bring him back. I'm like, man, I don't know if the university's going to go for that. I don't know. And then when it came out, I'm like, man, that's a hell of an idea because he's been there, he has the experience, and he's able to keep the boat where it needs to be and 100%. Help elevate, where it needs to be at.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. That's spot on.
But I ain't seen nothing like that since Rick Neuheisel took over for Colorado. And then he brought the old coach back as like a receivers coach or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, okay, that's cool. Keep it in staff, But like I said, that was fun for Virginia Tech because I'm like, that's the job for James Franklin anyway. Because I felt like I said, we won't get on this, but we love talking ball. So we love your fresh ideas about it. So this is really cool. But I thought Penn State they fucked up anyway, because you hire James Franklin, and he gets you to heights that you hadn't been since maybe Joe Paterno.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah, I
so
respect that.
consistently, should I say, heights that you've been in since Joe Paterno, right? So then you bring in a guy that technically has done the same thing that James Franklin did with less resources, right? So your expectation might not be. You
It should
shouldn't
be the
be.
exact same.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you should.
You should be the exact same or worse. Like, I don't see you
like,
making that higher and be like, we're gonna get higher than where we were.
like,
No.
oh my God, this is everything.
But
Like
but that's still not a great. It's a great historical job, but I know we don't talk about it for obvious reasons. But that stuff that happened has messed that job up.
Yeah.
Like, even 10, 15 years later. And look,
Hell
I'm not
yeah.
going to get into it. You know,
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien went in there and he stabilized the program and got it at least respected.
He did. He did.
But the way they fired Franklin and after what he had did, all these coaches are like, man, I'm not about to deal with that. It's already not the most desirable job. And you mean to tell me I'm in the college football playoff, and obviously we're having a bad season, but you just cut me loose like that? He's like, I'm not about to deal with that. Who's got time for that?
No. But but like I said, man, that's one of those jobs, man, that it's gonna be tough anyway. But they've got such a deep history of great football players. Like from way back till now, they've got so many good players that you're always going to be able to sell people on Penn State, regardless of what happened there.
It's a brand.
It's a brand. Yeah.
Like that's their thing.
The brand will
right?
always sell itself at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially if you have the kind of success that they've had, right? Yeah, I think nobody's had a darker stain on their program than Penn State has, but you would love to move past that. And that's why me and Brandon were kind of high on them last year, because you gotta win. You gotta win a national championship if you're at Penn State, because that's the only way to get that stank off of you. Only way. I think that's the only way for me, right? Everybody's gonna talk about, well, what about what happened? You know what I'm saying? Everybody, but nobody talks about that. It's
a way to not necessarily wash it away, but it's a way to usher in. It's like, okay, like this happened, we acknowledge it happened, but we're past that. You know,
like
this is a new regime.
We finally went full circle. You know, like we finally did that. So, but yeah. So I mean, I'd ask my first question, and then I'll let you get into it. There's one question. So, like I said, I'm looking at your history, right? And we gotta start. It's not a common interview question, but I gotta start here, bro. Got to. All right, me and Brandon are big Hawaii fans, bro. We are the number one Hawaii guys, bro. We go way back to Cole Brennan, Whack, After Dark.
Staying up late watching Hawaii.
2 a.m. 2 a.m. We in the trenches watching Hawaii.
Oh, we talking ball. We talking ball now. I'm excited. We talking fucking ball. We talking
ball. So you're born and raised on the islands, man. So we gotta talk about that. What does Hawaii football mean to you?
Man, I just sent out a message to an OG. I don't know if you guys remember this name, Devon Bess.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7. Number 7. Used to play University of Hawaii. Man, I was a youngin', man, watching these guys play. And it's crazy how far off and just the fall off that Hawaii football has just gone from the old days of the WAC to where they're at now. And they're in the Mountain West. Don't get me wrong. Mountain West is a great conference. But, man, back in the day, right, when they were having those battles against the Ian Johnson, Boise State, right, Kellen Moore and those guys, and, Colin Kaepernick at Nevada. Yeah. You talk about who's old boy at Fresno State quarterback.
Carr,
the Carr brothers. But you know what I'm saying? And these things, like, I grew up watching Hawaii, and then, you know, you see the run and shoot offense, right? You see June Jones, Mouse Davis, you know, Greg McMackin came in, did his thing for a little bit, but you watch guys like Colt Brennan. I got to watch Timmy Chang, who was another one. NCAA
Timmy Chang first, boy.
Timmy Chang was first, so you know what I'm saying. Like
Timmy Chang
people
was
talk
cold,
about
bro.
Colt Brennan, but you got to talk about Timmy Chang before you talk about. And all due respect, Colt was that dude, but
Yeah,
Timmy came and lit it up, and then just being able to watch these guys, being able to message guys like Devon Best and you know Jason Rivers, Ryan Grice Mullins, all these guys that you know played great football for the University of Hawaii. Chad Owens, who was a legend. Man, Hawaii football, like we didn't have a professional team, man. We're not like in Louisiana where you go watch LSU football on Saturdays, you can watch the Saints on Sunday. Like we don't have that. And so Hawaii football during that regime, during that era, man, it was a godsend. That was our modern day gods, like the gladiators, kids. We go to Aloha Stadium and we're watching these legends. You know, we're watching Zeus, you know, Poseidon. These were like our Greek gods, man. And if you go to Hawaii now, they don't even use Aloha Stadium anymore.
No, man, it's so freaking disheartening, bro.
It's disheartening,
Aloha
bro.
Stadium was so great.
They've broken it down. It's being teared down, and it's kind of sad. But man, Cameron, to your question, man, like Hawaii football, bro, that was a special time growing up on that. And part of me wishes that Hawaii football was still sustainable to this day. But man, most of the kids grow up now and the talent level, all they want to do is they want to get off the rock now. Nobody wants to stay home.
Nobody wants to represent.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to represent it, and I don't blame them. The program has fallen very far from where they need to be. But Timmy, you know, the head coach there now, he's building it up.
They had a good year.
They had a good year. They had a really good year.
Conference championship, bro. We were pushing it.
Yeah,
were, man. When you're watching Hawaii football, if you're watching any, you know, and for the fans out there, man, like I love watching the SEC prime slot at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, CBS, right? Like, I love that, right? You got the ABC primetime game at night. But if anybody watching out there ever gets a taste of like the Pac-12 after dark, and you're watching these teams go at it, like 11 o'clock, 12 midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern time. Oh, it's the best thing ever, man. It's the best. It's the best.
That like I said, that was a time to be alive, bro. Like that was peak for me, man. You know, like watching, like I said, watching Colt Brennan do work, man. At 2 a.m. was just like crazy, man. I was like, yo, he got how many touchdowns? He got how many yards? Are you crazy? Who does that?
You had to be there in person, man. There was 60,000. The stadium was sold out, and it was rocking. I mean, like, kids grew up, and you know, Colt Brennan used to have that sidearm throwing motion, and kids you see kids in the parking lot during tailgates, man. They're mimicking that throwing motion. And it's so cool because he had a chokehold on the state of Hawaii. He did this thing where during his Heisman run, during the undefeated season run, he dyed his hair blonde and he painted the Hawaiian island.
Yeah.
And man, if you're from Hawaii, you think it's crazy that this white boy has so much motion in the state of Hawaii. And he had little Hawaiian kids, blonde, dyeing their hair blonde, painting dyeing the Hawaiian Islands in their hair. And Colt Brennan had that motion in Hawaii, man. That's why he'll forever be a legend, even after now that he's passed on to the next life. You know, God rest his soul. I hit up one of my buddies. He works for one of these like vintage, like collectors memorabilia shops. And every month I'm messaging him. I'm gonna say, man, if you ever come across an old Colt Brennan with the WAC logo on it, jersey,
his shit is so expensive.
It's expensive. I've
looked on eBay like numerous times. Anything with his name on it, doesn't matter if the helmet, the jersey, a shirt, like
man,
it's crazy. I've been looking too. It's hard to find.
It's legendary, man.
Legendary.
Like I said, that run, man, with June Jones, man, and that let me get into kind of June Jones's history. I didn't know he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I didn't know that. So I was thinking like, yo, he was really about that, you know? So I was like, that dude, man, that Colt Brennan, that was like the funnest time watching football, man. Like just staying up late.
I appreciate that question because that brings back so many good nostalgic memories, man.
Dude,
as a kid.
If you watch the show, bro, that's every week we're the only people online that are like have that game, whatever game they play in our lineup of games to pick and to react.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Always, dog. Like everybody getting the comments was like, oh man, here they go talking about Hawaii. I'm like, hey man, shut up. Let us be fans of what
Yeah,
we fans of, man. Like,
yeah.
and look, like I said, they had a really good season last year. And I was
They did.
pissed off. I was pissed off when they lost to San Jose State, man. I was like, damn.
They
But
were
San
one game
Jose,
away from being in the conference
They should have
championship.
won that game. They should have won that
they
game
was,
against San Jose.
but San Jose was clowning, dog. They dropped like 50 on them. So I was like, hey, all
Yeah,
right,
if you're gonna
man.
win, win that way. You know, at least make
Yeah.
it so it's not questionable. I got you.
Yeah, but hey, that was cold, man. That's like I said, man. The Mountain West is a good conference, man. Like
It
people,
is.
it's
It's
a lot
gotten
of good,
better.
yeah, it's a lot of good players that come out of there, man. So like I said we college football guys. So a lot of our interviews have been with like Division II coaches and stuff. So we really enjoy talking to them because that's almost like a forgotten
It
league
is. Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And they've had just as many NFL players as like some of the smaller conferences come
Yep.
out of Division II. So we just like to shine a light on all of it, man. If we could get like the NAIA people on here, man, we'll do that too. Because it's all fucking fun for me, man. I like the journey, man. I
I
like
do.
it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but that was my first question. I had to get that up out of there. That was I
So,
had to.
so like we touched base on LSU and we just talked about Hawaii. When you was coming out of high school, obviously you committed to LSU. Was Hawaii a player? Were there other teams reaching out to you? Like, what was your recruitment like? And like, were you close to committing anywhere else that maybe nobody knows about?
So coming out of high school, so I actually when I first started, I originally committed to Texas Tech. That's where I started my career. I started my career at Texas Tech, and before I had transferred to LSU. But before Texas Tech, man, not a lot of people know this, but man, I was supposed to go to Alabama. I was one of the first few people Alabama ever offered in the state of Hawaii. Yeah, because Nick Saban never recruited out west, and so the only reason I got an offer from Alabama was because I went to their elite camp, their Alabama elite camp in 2013. And I remember I went there and dominated that camp. And it was me, Deron Payne, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Isaiah Buggs. And we all dominated. We all got offered at that camp. It was the 2012 elite camp, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I'm meeting with Nick Saban, and he's like, "Man, where are you from?" And he's like, "I never heard of the school." I'm like, "I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii." He's like, "You're from where?"
He's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. And so he's like, so this is how he tells me I got my first offer. He's like, "So you're telling me now that I got to come to Hawaii and recruit you now? Because we don't go recruit guys we don't offer." So he's like, "I want you to know that I got to come to Hawaii now to recruit one of these new Hawaii guys I just offered." I was like, and I was looking, I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, we're going to offer you a scholarship." So I'm like, "Man, I appreciate it, coach. This and this and this and this and this." And, I'm going crazy. I'm meeting him in his. I got a picture of me. I got to send it to you, Cameron, by the way. But we're in his office, whatever, whatnot. And I go back to Hawaii, and I developed a close relationship with Chris Rump, who was the D-line coach at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually played with his son at the Chargers, Chris Rump Jr. But, man, I told Chris Rump, I'm like, "Coach, I'm coming to Hawaii." And lo and behold, my recruiting coach on the West Coast for Alabama was no other than Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
So Lane Kiffin was my recruiting. Like, you know how these coaches are assigned to certain recruits, right? Of course, you're going to have your position coach, but there's certain coaches that recruit that region. So Lane Kiffin was my point of contact. So me and Lane Kiffin got really tight. And we were like, and I told him, I was like, "Man, coach," and Lane was like, "Hey, we need your official commitment. We need your official commitment. We need you to do it." I'm like, "Coach, I'm coming, but I just, I want to go through the recruiting process." So up until when I formally committed to Texas Tech, I gave my word to Nick Saban and that staff at Alabama for 2.5 years that I was going to go there. And so, man, it's crazy, Cam, because, man, I loved Bryant Denny. When I first got to Alabama, they took me to who's that legendary coach they have there? They have a restaurant named after him.
Was it Gene Stallings?
No. It's another coach. Man, I forgot the name of it, but I don't know if it's
Is it Bear Bryant?
Is there a restaurant in Tuscaloosa called Bear Bryant's? It's a barbecue
I don't know.
or some. There's a barbecue place in Tuscaloosa. Anyways, but man, I went there. I took my visit there. Like I thoroughly enjoyed Tuscaloosa. Like it was amazing. That was the first time I ever got to see a Scott Cochran workout. And a grown man just like yelling at guys bigger than him, and these guys were saying nothing, doing exactly what he was asking them to do. And so I told my parents, I was like, man, this is the place where I need to be. And then the reason I ended up at Texas Tech was my brother was at Texas Tech at the time, and he had developed a really close relationship with Mike Leach. So throughout the years, like Texas Tech was always a legendary coach.
That's
so
my dude, man. That's another guy, man.
Another one, bro. So, Texas Tech was always a special place for us, and where that place held Lubbock, Texas, a hold and a chokehold on us and our family. So, man, I ended up, calling Alabama, and of course, Nick was mad, and Kirby was mad. Kirby Smart was still there at the time. Kirby was the defensive coach, and so all these guys are like, man, Breiden, like, what are you doing? Like Texas Tech, and I was young. I didn't know like the weight of colleges and coaching development and all that. They were like, and they were telling me on the phone, they're like, man, Texas Tech sucks. And not in those words, but they're pretty much telling me like, bro, you're making the worst decision of your life. So I ended up going to Texas Tech out of high school. I graduated early playing the Under Armour game. And I go to Texas Tech, start every single game for the first 2 years there. And after my second year, I told myself, I called my family, I'm like, man, I can't play here no more. I can't play in the Big 12. And so, crazy enough, I ended up going to LSU, and you guys know the rest. The rest is history, man. And win a national championship, make the best decision. But what's funny enough was when I was transferring out of Texas Tech, one of my visits before LSU, before I committed as a transfer, was to Georgia, and getting to meet with Kirby, and me and Kirby talked about.
Man, we can't get no love.
He curved him twice.
Man, so look, I'm talking with Kirby, and we're talking in his office, and Kirby's office in Georgia looks over the field, looks over like the indoor field. And Kirby's looking at me, and the first thing he goes was like, man, I remember from that camp, you were one of the, like, Coach, me and Coach Nick, we talk about you. And he was like, CJ Mosley. And this was like a compliment I'll take with me to the grave. He was like, you, CJ Mosley, and Julio Jones. 3 of you guys, we will never forget your performances as high schoolers at our Alabama camp, because you 3 were 3 guys that, like, we will never forget the level of dominance. And like, I have clips on my Facebook from 2012, 2013 of me at that Alabama camp. And I would just, whatever O lineman they threw in front of me, I just wiped the table with them. Like, and it wasn't even, it was quick wins. It was dominant. And so, getting back to my story about when I visited Georgia, man, me and Kirby were just reminiscing. And the only reason I chose LSU over Georgia and Auburn, which were my top 3 choices, was just because like what was just the level of like having Coach O, like, you knew it was different, like having the head coach as a defensive line guy, having a head coach who knew his heart and soul was like tied to the program. Man, that meant a lot. And so, going to LSU, man, I enjoyed it. I loved my time there, and man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Every route I've taken, every decision I've made has led me to where I am now.
No, that's crazy. Cool, man.
You curved Kirby twice, bro.
Twice.
He was I'm surprised you didn't have a story about, hey, I ran into Nick Saban. He's like, yo, bro, like, what happened, bro?
Man, he was sick. What's crazy was when Nick originally recruited me, I was 250. I was a defensive end in high school. And he was like, man, you're going to come in and play our jack. 2 years later, as the recruiting process gets, as I get older, I get to like my senior year, I grow up, I grow like 2 inches. I put on like 40 pounds. I'm like 290 my senior year. I'm like 6'3", 290. And when I was at the Alabama camp with him, I was like 6'1", 240, so obviously I've grown. He goes and he looks at me and Nick Saban goes, Breiden, and this is why I kind of didn't go to Alabama at the same time. He looks at me and my dad, and we're on the phone, and he's like, man, we got a center by the name of this is gonna kill me.
Around that time,
it wasn't Bozeman. It was the center before Bozeman. No, Bozeman was a tackle. Who was the offensive center? I want to say
Barrett Jones.
Barrett Jones. Barrett
Yeah.
Jones, the All-American, I believe.
Yeah.
So he tells me, he goes,
He's
Breiden,
good.
he's like, Breiden, we got an All-American right now, Barrett Jones. He's got 2 more years left with me. He can't declare this year, but he will most likely declare next year. He's like, Breiden, I have a vision for you. You're going to come in, you're going to redshirt. You're going to sit behind Barrett Jones. I'm going to move you to offensive center. He's like, I think you'll be a first-round center. I shit you not. Honest to God. He goes, man, I think you'll be a first-round center. And mind you, I went to his camp and I dominated as a defensive end. And I'm playing D-line. I've never played a lick of O-line in my life. He goes,
God damn.
you're going to redshirt behind Barrett Jones. You're going to sit behind him for a year. He's going to leave to the league the next year, and I won't guarantee that starting spot. But you'll be in a really good position to play center for the University of Alabama and accomplish all the dreams you want. He's like, I think you'll be a first-round pick. Man, I hung up that phone. My dad goes, my dad goes, man, this dude don't know what the fuck he talking about. I told my dad to this day, we joke about it. I said, man, Dad, I probably should have listened to Nick Saban. My ass will still be in the league right now.
Shit, man. No, that's hilarious, man.
Hindsight's 2020, but
God damn, like, yo, you gonna change my whole position?
Man,
like, yo, bro, I was just doing good. What the hell are we doing?
Man, because I had went to that camp. I was like a freshman in high school. I was like 6'1", 240, and I'm like a skinny, lanky kid. And I'm dominating that D-line. And 2 years later, as we're going through the recruiting process, he sees me, and he is like, man, I don't know what told him or what came over him, but he was like, you're going to play center. And crazy enough, when I got to the league, there was like four coaches. I had 2 offensive line coaches, I had a D-line coach, and I had a general manager, Tom Telesco, for the Chargers. All 4 of them told me, Breiden, you should have made the switch to O-line. You'd be a hell of an O-line. Even while I was still playing. And I joke around with my dad all the time. I'm like, man, maybe Nick Saban was right. What do we know?
Hey, man. Hey, Nick Saban sees a lot of shit, man. He's seen a lot of football, man. Like, to understand, like I said, his journey is another one I like to talk about a lot. Because it's like people forget he started at Kent State, bro.
Kent State.
He started at Kent State, man. And when you think about how many jobs he got before he went to the NFL, man, Kent State, I want to say Toledo, Michigan State, and then LSU. Like, he ascended every step of the way. So when he says things like, oh my God, college football used to be something else, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he means
like,
it.
He knows. He's like, look, when he's talking about NIL destroying the little guys, he know he was one of the little guys. So like I love hearing what he has to say, man, because he's a big piece for what we need to do and fix college football.
He is,
because he like people say, oh, college football needs a commissioner. Well, I think he would be a great person for that.
He would
because it's never for him been about himself. It's always been about the player. Like,
he is one of those guys that he means well whenever he talks about putting the intent of the player's best intentions first. I do agree, Kim. I think Nick needs to, whether it's a commissioner role or whether it's something, they got Gus Malzahn involved with the playoff now. He's a part of the playoff committee. So I think just getting guys like that more involved with the game, and especially with the level of college football, I think we
guys
can start
like that having that influence.
Yeah, we can start making strides in the right direction. It's got to happen eventually, where you need guys like Nick Malzahn. I mean, even Butch Jones, somebody at Tennessee who you see he always likes to come back, and teams will put him in an assistant position or something. Like, getting coaches like that who have been around the SEC and put them in the right position and get them around, and so we can change this. And all of a sudden, you can start putting some structure when it comes to NIL, when it comes to the playoff, when it comes to college football, transfer portals, all that.
Yeah, man, because it's becoming an ugly situation, man. Like I said, I'm all for the players making money, right? I'm all for it, man. But you, as an incoming freshman, not even a true freshman, because you haven't even played yet, you shouldn't be demanding these crazy deals, right? like kind of what the NFL does, right? You know, they had these crazy rookie contracts, right? And then it's like, okay, no, you're gonna earn your money, right? That
Now
next
they're going back
contract,
to that though.
kind of, but that's just kind of how the market works. But I think when you come in as a true freshman, you got to earn your stripes, man.
Correct.
If we're gonna renegotiate contracts every offseason, I think that's what you should do, right? If you play good as a freshman, you get more money, right? And if you don't play good as a freshman, then we renegotiate that contract based off of your performance. I think
Like,
it's fair for the player. I think it's fair for the team because it's not fair for a guy that's a 5-star guy coming in here supposed to be able to uplift our program. Like, say, it's somebody coming to Kent State, for an example, right? They don't get 5-star guys, but you come in here and you want to demand this crazy salary, and we a small school. Like, let's negotiate that as we go, and I think that's fair. Let's put it on. If we're gonna negotiate it every year, let's do that. 1 year, boom, boom. And then if you hit certain accolades and incentives, say you do the Julio Jones, freshman All American, boom. Now you enter a whole different class of
yeah.
that system, right?
Now
I
we
think
can rightfully renegotiate a deal for you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
because you got something that is tangible
yes.
that is worth that, right? And not only does that help you, if you choose to go in the transfer portal, that's a bigger chip for you,
Yeah.
right? Because now it's like, oh, I made all SEC as a freshman. Imagine what I'm going to do next year. I could make all Big Ten if I'm playing offense, for sake of thing. I could win the Heisman, right? If I'm playing defense and I get the Nagurski or the Chuck Bednarik, those things should add definitely bullet points to your renegotiation, right? But if you come in there and sake of Nico, as we talked about last year, Brandon, and you ain't done diddly squat, and you ask, "Hey, I want some more money." Well, what have you done, sir?
Well, that's why he didn't get what he wanted, and he had to settle for UCLA.
Yeah, that was crazy, bro. I was like, "Yo, if you're gonna leave, go somewhere else, bro." They rebuilding like for real.
He ran out of options at that point.
Yeah, he
He,
ran. I
ki-
was about to say,
he killed the market for himself. He did that. He could have just stayed where he was at. But when colleges
shit.
start seeing like you're probably a problem, or you're drama, or you have unreal, you're gonna cut the margin for yourself, and you're gonna have slim pickings. This isn't the
Well,
NFL. This isn't free agency. Like,
where
it's
it's
a
like,
privilege for you to be playing right now. Colleges don't have to offer you at all.
where it's like you get suspended. It's like, hey man, you know what? He got suspended, but you know what? He was all pro last year. Let's give him the league minimum. We'll see. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with the league minimum right now. What you got, Brandon?
Cam? Oh yeah, I mean, my out of curiosity. So you come off a national championship win, your stock is high. Like, what was that process like after that? Like, did you know, okay, the league is an option? Do I have an idea of where I'm going to get drafted? And then, like, what was it like waiting on that call or being able to go to a team, things like that?
Yeah. So after we got done with the Natty, mind you, they already had filled up all the slots in the Senior Bowl, so I didn't get a chance to go to a Senior Bowl. So I'm over here like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get my mind ready for the combine. I had thought I had did enough throughout the year, to garner a combine invite. Then long story short, I don't get a combine invite. So I'm like, man, all right, one thing after another. So I start adding up. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm starting to play behind the 8 ball a little bit. I'm probably not going to go where I thought I was projected to go earlier in the year and probably dropping a little bit. My stocks dropped a little bit. I'm like, cool. All right, whatever. So end up waiting for pro day. And then all of a sudden, like, COVID hits and we shut down the world and the world gets shut down. And so, I didn't have a Senior Bowl. I didn't have a senior combine invite. I didn't have a pro day, like none of that.
So all they had was your film.
All they had was my film from college, and all I am is just meeting on Zoom with coaches, with personnel members, doing phone calls. And, man, I started getting nervous. I'm like, man, it's going to be tough. I didn't have a Senior Bowl invite, didn't have a combine invite. So any team that wanted to do an in-person evaluation on me, it was going to be through Zoom. And mind you, I think there's a statistic. Everybody in the 2020 draft, I think 84% 85%, I'm not sure, I got to double check, of the players that got drafted were either a part of a Senior Bowl, one of the Senior Bowls, a part of the combine, or had their pro day. So they had in-person evaluation. That was the highest percentage in the last decade. In the last decade, not in the last 2 or 3, in the last decade of players that got drafted. Usually, any give and take or year, that number will probably be around 60, 65%. The other 30 could be, guys where they take flyers on from an NAIA school, a D2 school, whatever, right? But it was real heavy that year because COVID, nobody knew about the evaluation, so they had to take what they had on paper and what they had in person up to that point. So draft day comes around, I'm like, man, I'm waiting for a call. I don't end up getting a call, and I've had a few teams reach out in like the 4th or 5th round to secure free agent deals as an undrafted free agent. And by this point, I'm like, my pride is like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm thinking I'm going to get drafted. I'm thinking all this, like, bro, why are they calling for free agent deals? So I turned on a lot of money early on in the 4th and 5th round to secure free agent deals because of my pride. And lo and behold, I end up going undrafted, and I take one of the lowest free agent deals I got offered was from the Chargers. And I remember the Chargers scout, his name is Justin Sheridan. He ends up calling me. He's like, dude, Breiden, I know you're probably pissed. You should have been drafted. I thought you should have been drafted. We here at the Chargers thought you should have been drafted, but you're going to have every opportunity to come in here as an undrafted free agent, prove your worth, and we're going to give you every opportunity to play this year. And I was like, cool, whatever. So I ended up accepting that deal, man. I was signed to a 3-year deal with the Chargers. I ended up playing all 3 years there. And then, which was great, man. They got my career jump started. Then I ended up signing 3 one-year deals, single-year deals with the Pittsburgh Steelers after that. Ended up playing 6 years in the league. And like I said earlier in the interview, like, man, sometimes, we never know how our journey is going to end up, but I'm grateful for every decision I've made, every opportunity I've had up to this point, because it's brought me to this very position where I need to be, where my 10 feet are, where my 10 toes are, my 2 feet are. Like, I'm firm. I'm confident in my life. I'm confident where I am at this point in my journey, and I'm grateful for it. And so it was crazy, man, thinking back to draft day. Even when I think about it now and I talk to all the young guys in high school and college that I work with now, D linemen or just young kids that I mentor, and they ask me, like, man, what can I do to get drafted? And I always tell them, like, man, don't think about getting drafted. Don't try to get drafted. Just be you. Play to your standard. Play to what you do. If you felt like this is all you can do on any given Saturday, then do that, right? Don't play to, I'm going to be an All-American. Don't play to these expectations, these goals that people have set on you. Because when you start playing to that, you're not comfortable. You start living out of your shadow. You start doing things out of the routine that you're not used to do. And I look and I think about that in relevance to my junior year at LSU. Was one of my better years. My first 6 games, I was off to a hot start. And man, I had agents blowing up my phone. I had scouts that would come to the facility. They would stop by and say hi, and I was off to a roll. And I remember sitting there, and I remember telling my parents at the time, I just got done with an agent meeting, and I meet with Young Money, the rap group. They had an agency. They were like popular at the time. They're now Clutch Sports. But I meet with Young Money, and I just get done. We had just played we had just lost to Florida in 2018, but I had a really good game. And we get back, and we play against Georgia that next week. We beat Georgia at home. It's like the 6th game of the season, so we're sitting pretty, and I just had another good game. I meet with Young Money, and they're like, man, we think you're going to go anywhere in the 2nd or 3rd round. You probably go in the 1st if you keep playing how you're playing. And I remember looking at my parents, and I remember calling them after, and I'm just like, on FaceTime, I'm like, man, I'm gone after this year. Like, this is, I redshirted last year for transferring. I'm off to one of the hottest starts for the nose tackles in college football right now. Like, I had 2.5 sacks through 6 games, 9 tackles, 4 or 5 TFLs. Like, I'm rolling right now. And man, I remember the next game we played. Who was it? The very next game after Georgia, we played somebody. I can't remember if it was Mississippi State or Alabama. It was one of those games. And I tear my bicep off the bone, and my whole body, like this scar right here on my bicep right here. It's a 6-inch scar. Whole bicep tears, like the second play of the game, and
Oh.
I just remember sitting there going to the tent, and I'm just like, dude, like there's no way. I just sat out last year. I'm literally told my parents a week ago, like I'm so ready to get to the league. And going back to what I had said when I talked to these guys, I always tell them like, man, just be in the moment. Don't think about these expectations of trying to go somewhere. Don't think about accomplishing this and this on draft night or whatever. Like, just be present, be in the moment, be appreciative because this game could be taken from you at any given time. And I truly believe that injury kind of shaped the way of my career. It went collegiately. But then again, I'm grateful for it. Like I said, I don't regret it. I don't regret what happened. Everything in life is not a loss to me. It's a lesson. But man, going back to your question, Brandon, like draft day was crazy, man, because I thought it would go one way, it didn't go another way, and then my career ends up going the way it does, and I'm sitting here grateful 6 years later that I'm just like, wow, I'm a veteran in the NFL. I'm vested. I have lifetime pension. My family's taken care of. I have a roof over my head. We don't own any. We pay for things in cash. Like these are just things that I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? Like the average American, and that's why I wake up every day so with full of life because man, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to accomplish and have the things I have. So I wake up every day with a pep in my step, like, wow, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool, man. It's a blessing, it's a lesson. But we learn from everything in our journey and it makes us who we are.
No, that's fair, man. That's true because a lot of people, like I said, I talked to my brother and stuff, and like I said, my brother, out of all three of us, he has the best. He had the best chance to go to the league because he's about to be 17 now. So when I came to Texas like 2, 3 years ago, he was like already 6'1", and he was 14. So I was like, dude, you have the measurables already. You just need it here. That's it. And you don't want to project like I want to say you don't want to project that goal, put it in their face, right? You want to for them to see it for themselves, right? Kind of what you said, enjoy being you. Enjoy being a 14-year-old kid. Enjoy being a 15-year-old kid, 16, 17. Let's just keep going and being you, right? And like I said, at some point, he kind of lost his way, right? So I struggle sometimes because I'm like, dude, you gotta get it together, right? But you also gotta look at it like that is his life, right? You can't force somebody to do the right things, right? Because even though me being big brother, there's a level to it. There's a level to it because at some point you're gonna want to be your own person, right? And I can only tell you so much. You can look at me and see me as a person to kind of guide you through things, right? But at some point, you're gonna hit a fork in the road, right? And you're going to have to find yourself, So that's one of those things that I like hearing, man. The journey through it all, right? And like I said, I look at like you talk about your draft day and throughout COVID, man, like what was that mindset for you in terms of like staying in shape, staying
Mm.
ready? Like, how did you do that? Because I see a lot of stories people kind of had to kind of piece shit together. But like, how did you do it? How did you stay in shape, ready for that draft day? Doing
So,
through all
man,
that.
I remember we were in Baton Rouge and like LSU was closed because the college campuses were closed. Everything was on Zoom. And the apartments where I lived at in Baton Rouge, that like fitness center was closed. And man, I remember getting on Facebook, the marketplace, and I remember scavenging. I'm like, man, I'm looking for weights, kettlebells, anything I can get my hands on. And luckily and thankfully, there was some really good people in Baton Rouge, obviously, that know who I was, and didn't even make me pay. So I got to go look back on my Facebook to those people, and I got to go, send them a jersey or something. But man, people were like, "Hey, Breiden, like, oh yeah, for sure, like, come here, I got this and this." So I had a 1-bedroom apartment, and I pretty much turned my little patio that was maybe 4 feet by 8 feet. I turned into like a little gym. I had a bench out there. some dumbbells, kettlebells, and I'd run stairs. I'd run around the block, and I was hustling. I was making things work. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen as far as, gyms or training or anything. But I know when my ass gets to camp with the Chargers, I better be in shape. And I just remember just being like, man, I got to be there, and I'm not going to be the guy that gives them any reason to tell them that I'm out of shape or soft tissue injury. So, man, Cam, I was just grinding around my apartment complex. I had no type of intuition about what a diet was. So I'd be working out an hour and a half in the Baton Rouge sun and going to go buy some crawfish from Crawfish on the Go across the street. It was a little pop-up, van, not a van, but a vendor that would park there. And they were one of the few that were like still selling foods during the COVID stuff. So, man, I would get 5 pounds of crawfish, some sausage, potatoes, eat that every day. And this is what I did during COVID. And me and my buddies, we had like an online Madden league that we were doing, killing time. So it was cool, man. It was one of those things I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I could relive it. Not the COVID part, right? But
Yeah.
the whole staying at home, sheltering in place, man, just kind of being alone with your family, being alone with your loved ones. And then just, this is kind of, that's the time where like everybody's ideas kind of took off. You saw more podcasts popping up, whatnot. But man, that was awesome. That was what I did. That's how I stayed my big ass in shape. Was one of the Baton Rouge news sites did a story on me throughout this process. So I gotta, if I find it, I'll shoot it to Terry. But they did a story on me throughout that whole process of staying in shape and all that. And you'll see my whole setup on my. I think it was Jock Ducey. Jock Ducey did a segment. Popular, LSU reporter, all that. So if you guys have time, you can go find it, or I'll find it. But yeah, man, you'll see the whole setup. You'll see what I was doing, and it was cool.
You gotta get it how you live, bro.
Yeah, man. Shoot, man. I seen somebody put like water. They got water. They start lifting water. Like they put in the trash bag and just kept lifting it.
Prison style.
Yeah. I was like, yo. I was
If
like,
it works, it works.
yeah, it was working too. I was like, damn, I had to try that shit. I was like, that's kind of cool. I didn't know water was that heavy, bro.
Excuse me.
Out of curiosity, and I don't want to take up a whole lot more of your time. A quick like 2-part thing. So you get to the league. Anything you watch, whether it be Raw Room or anything, they always ask this question. Say, what was your welcome to the NFL like moment? And then like, if you could think of a guy you lined up against, whether it be on the Chargers or lined up against, and again, you're like, man, like this guy's just giving me the blues. Like I can't do anything.
First part of that question, welcome to the league. Probably my first game, my first action against the Buffalo Bills, my rookie year. Mitch Morris, veteran center.
Mizzou, yeah, Mizzou guy.
Veteran center.
Yeah.
Had played a while.
Yeah.
First play I come in, it's cool. I get a double team. I'm playing the double team, get in on tackle. I'm like, oh, cool. That's my first play in the NFL. Like, I'm chilling. Second play, I'm lined up, head up on Mitch, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to bull rush him. Like Josh Allen back there, like I'm going to get my ass to the quarterback. So I start my bull rush, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at the turf because he snatches my ass. Like he lets me bull rush him, and then he just snatches my ass down. And he just holds me down. I'm like, dang. So that was my welcome to the NFL moment. That was like my second play in the league. Second part of that question, a guy that probably I'll go up against that was kind of like made me question, like, whoa, like this was like my let me get in the lab, like because you can't just overpower everybody. Was Corey Linsley, center. He played with us at the Chargers, Ohio State guy, played with the Packers for a long time. The best center I've ever gone up against. What made Corey so good was he was so strong and he was so low center of gravity to the ground. Man, he could control guys. Like you couldn't just overpower Corey Linsley, and he was so athletic. He had a low center of gravity. He knew how to move around. It was like kind of if you wrestled when you grew up. For me, I wrestled, and whenever I wrestled guys, I always had trouble not with the stronger guys, But with the guys who were so quick, with the guys who were very agile, the guys who could shift their body weight one way, move it another way in the blink of an eye, Corey Linsley was so good at that.
Mm.
And going up against Corey Linsley, man, whenever I saw him in the locker room, Corey always had his iPad. He was always watching film. He was always dissecting the game, always watching practice, always watching individual cut-ups. And so that was a guy, man, and my game got to the next level. Like my 2021 season in the league compared to my 2022 season, drastic difference. And part of that I owe to Corey Linsley because, man, he taught me how to get in the lab. Like, when you hear guys say, man, get in the lab, or get in the film room, but until you go up against somebody who kind of gives you that medicine that you ain't been wanting to take for the last decade of your life, that's when you start realizing, like, oh, shit, like, there's levels to this. And he made me realize, like, hey, this is what a good and an elite football player, especially in the trenches, looks like. You better start modeling your game. So whenever Corey's in the weight room, whenever weight I saw him doing, I would try to do 5 pounds more. I would try to do 1 rep more. Whatever I saw, and I just tried to replicate it. And lo and behold, man, it made me a better player. And he was so awesome, bro. He was an awesome vet. Even though he was an offensive line of center, I always ask Corey questions. Hey, Corey, how do you get better core strength? Corey, how do you get better grip strength? Corey, how can I, strengthen my back muscle? How can I have a sturdier punch as a defensive lineman? Corey, and so he was so awesome for me in my development. Man, he was one of those guys, man, Brandon, like I said, that he really helped me shape my game as a defensive tackle in the NFL.
Pretty dope.
Cool. Yeah, that's
cool,
pretty
man. Cool. Great dude. We still keep in contact to this day. He's retired. He's lost almost 100 pounds. I mean, you can't even recognize him.
He pulled a Joe Thomas pretty much.
It's all these offensive linemen. They're just, bro, I swear, and it's really old linemen. They all retire and start running marathons and bullshit, and I don't know how they do it. I'm retired, and my weight will fluctuate. Like, some months I'll lose like 20, 25 pounds. Some months I'll gain like 15, 17 pounds. But you ain't going to catch me running no marathons. I promise you that.
Nah, man, that shit is crazy. I don't know how they do it. I don't even know how people be doing it at the Olympics, bro. I'll be like, yo. I'm like, yo, he ran a marathon in 2 hours, bro. Like, are you serious? Like, nah, man, that's great. But I guess my last question, man, is a 2-parter. So you spent time with the Steelers. I'm a Ravens fan, so I don't like the Steelers. But I love me some Mike Tomlin, bro. I love Mike Tomlin. So my first question is, man, what is Mike Tomlin like on the day-to-day, not even coaching, like on a day-to-day that you spend time with him? And then last question would be, like, when did you take that jump to know that I'm going to play Division I football? Like,
great question.
What age did you take that next step?
So first off, Mike Tomlin, I mean, you talk about a real leader of men, and he, bar none, like, he's one of the smartest individuals I've ever been around when it comes to the game of football. Like, people see Mike Tomlin and they see he talks about life, he gives life quotes and all that, which he is phenomenal. But behind closed doors, man, he can replay a football game in the back of his head as soon as the game's done. And I'm talking about every single play, every single offense, defense, special team snap. He knows it. He knows every position on the field. Special. Being around him every day, man, it helped elevate me, not as a football player, but as a man. Everybody talks about Tomlinisms, and he was so special because he had a million of them. But one of the favorite Tomlin-isms I loved was every Tuesday or every Wednesday to start our work week, we'd get in there and he'd always say, man, we got to fit 8 pounds in a 5-pound bag, meaning we got to get the most out of the work week, right? When you think the work is in the bag, there's so much more room. There's so much more meat on the bone. And Mike Tomlin, while, yes, he demanded the most out of you, you wanted to give it your all because you knew he was going to give it his all every day when you stepped into the facility. You knew he was going to demand excellence. You knew that the accountability was going to be kept from the higher up, from the leadership. And so to be around him for the last 3 years, to pick his brain, to be around a man like that who leads, to be around a man who not just a football behemoth when it comes to his mentality, but somebody off the field who players looked at as a father figure. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is very special. it was sad to see him step away from the game and step into media, but I think he's going to excel in that as well, just because of the guy he is.
Yeah.
But Mike Tomlin's phenomenal, man. If you've ever had a chance to be around Mike Tomlin, he's one of those guys where technically and specifically you need a pen and paper to be around him, because he's always going to give you knowledge. He's always going to be that guy that always has something that you should be listening to and apply it to your life. And the second part of your question, when I knew I was going to play D1 was, man, as soon as my third oldest brother left to college, and I was the only kid in the house, I went from like this Call of Duty, playing Xbox 360 every day kid, hanging out every day with the boys and my friends at the mall, to, oh shit, I'm the only kid at home now. All my brothers have gone on to play football at the next level. Like, I'm no longer like the baby anymore. I'm the man of the house. I'm the only boy in the house with my parents. Like, I got to make a name for myself. And part of me was like, I wanted to prove my brothers that I could do it on my own, because I was always the baby, right? And it was always like, you'll have your time, you'll have her time. But when I got on my own at home, being around my parents, I really made it a goal to myself that whenever my brothers came back from college, whenever they come back to visit home, I wanted them to be like, oh shit, like, Breiden, you taking some steps, like, you're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger. And so there was a lot of that pride in me that I was like, man, I want to prove them right. I want to prove myself right that I can do this thing. And so I think it was 7th grade was when my last brother above me, because I was the youngest of 4 boys, when my brother above me, when he left to college at the University of Utah, that's when I went from like this Xbox 360 fat, bad eating little middle school gamer to, all right, let me become a young man now. Let me go hit these weights, these push-ups, these sit-ups. Let me go run this little hill in the back of our house. And let me go. And it wasn't even Division 1. It was more so just like, man, I want to be a beast, because I want my brothers to come back and be like, nah, this ain't no fat, chubby Xbox playing kid no more. This is a young beast. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that was kind of like that was the reason. Cam was like, man, I had nobody else to look up to. Now it was just me. So I had to go make something out of myself, and I wanted to prove them all right. So now that's a great question, because, there was a time where all my brothers were home and they were all like top, prolific football players in the state of Hawaii. They all went on to play at elite Division 1 colleges. And there was a time where everybody's like, man, what's the youngest going to do? What's young B going to do? Is B going to live up to it? And, I was just chilling. I was like, I'm play games, whatever. And it hits you when you're the only one and there's nobody else to bounce that energy off of.
No, that's kind of the reverse for me, because I'm the oldest.
Okay. So you the hard one. You the tough love.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, everybody else got the easier stuff. I be having to tell my brothers all the time. I'm like, y'all really think y'all got it rough, man? I got beat with a lot of shit, bro.
I'm knowing the oldest life.
just for y'all to get away with stuff. I had to take those ass whoopings, man.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
I'm knowing.
So like that's the fun. That's the fun part about being the oldest. You can tell people. You can tell the little brothers, like, y'all ain't having that bad. just listen to mom. And once you get on your own, you can do what you want. But as long as you in her house, it's her rules, okay?
Yeah.
Once you get out, you can do what you want. It's not as easy as you think.
Start paying them bills. You gonna realize,
man, yo, that shit is crazy, man. They do not care sometimes.
I feel that 100%.
But that's all I got, bro.
I'll leave it off with this. This is all about you in this moment. I'm just curious. We kind of touched on it earlier before we went live, but what was the moment, or like what led you to want to try to get into podcasting? Was there like certain people you took for inspiration? Were you watching something like, man, I think I can do that? Now you're doing it. Like, what are your biggest like highs and lows, and like what do you think about the experience?
Brandon, that's a great question. For me, I think the biggest reason I wanted to get into it was one, well, first and foremost, these degrees I have behind me are for broadcast journalism. So this is like the space I've gone into.
Mm-hmm.
But two, I think that just becoming such a a platform on social media, I kind of wanted people to see me more than just a social media account. I wanted people to not just see as the guy that sends out controversial tweets or always tries to give a sports take or always tries to give an opinion. I wanted to put face to the words. And to me, I've always felt like if you wanted to stand on something, if you wanted to believe in something and what's going to set you apart, is you got to be well-rounded. And to me, I didn't just want to be that social media. I didn't want to be a bot, as what they call these kids
Right.
nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be a guy, and if I was going to give an opinion, if I was going to give a controversial take, now that I'm retired, I speak freely about it. I was going to do it with my chest open, eyes up, and you were going to know who I am. And so now that I'm in the podcasting realm, now that I'm in the live show realm, right? Being able to put those words, those tweets now onto a show, now onto a visual where you see my face, you see my intentions, you see the words I'm expressing at, right? Because behind a keyboard, behind a cell phone, you never know. You can read a message, you can try to apply it to whatever subject or topic it's on, but you never know the tone of something. And to me, that's so it's important whenever you try to deliver a message, right? But all the above, and then obviously having some great people and great, mentors in my life that have told me, hey, get into the show industry. Like, even if it starts off slow and it starts off little, just put your face on camera, put your words out there. There's somebody out there, there's somewhere, some kid, some adult that probably wants to hear what you got to say, whether it's a minute long or whether it's an hour long. Put it out there, right? Because one day you'll be appreciative that you did do it, not just for those people that wanted to hear it, but for yourself. And so, man, I wanted to get that started. I wanted to get off the ground. I genuinely enjoy doing stuff like this. I genuinely enjoy giving people, especially viewers, man, because we've become such a society where, man, people want to see. It's a visual society. People want to watch, right? Like, it's sad to say, but the days of writing and reading articles, they're kind of dying out, because content creators, podcast creators, visual learners, they're taking over the game, right? Guys like you guys and guys like us. And so being able to do this, man, it's been awesome. It's been a grind though, right? The highs are great. When I have good shows, they're great shows. When I have great guests, I have great guests. But the lows, when you're up at midnight, cutting and editing. And for me, like, yeah, I could hire a producer. I could hire people like this, but what good does that do to me unless I'm in the trenches learning it, right? And it's the same thing for me when I apply it to football. Like, I coach kids now, and I tell them, I'm like, man, I'm never going to teach you something that I've never done or I will never do or attempt it. And it's the same thing for like a show and podcasting. Like, yeah, I can go hire a producer, take the easy way out, but unless I know what it's like to grind, to cut up, to edit things on my own, to know that, oh, this is how you got to do this, I got to be extra careful doing this, cutting this out, adding this, editing that, then I'll never really truly appreciate what I'm doing. So that's why I appreciate whenever I go on somebody's show. That's why I appreciate whenever I do an interview or somebody comes on my show, because I know the work that goes on behind it. It's not easy. It's not as much as these websites and these platforms have made it self-sufficient for creators to produce, right? You still have to cut up an hour, what is this, an hour 40 going on, an hour 40's worth of footage and stuff, right? You still have to cut up these clips. You still have to go build a thumbnail. You still have to go edit these things, right? And so I'm grateful for it. It's a grind. It's like I'm starting football all over from the ground up. I'm having to learn the ranks. Hey, what works, what doesn't work for me? Oh, this works, this website works, or this works for this. All right, let me do that. So, man, Brandon Cameron, it's been a blast, man. It's been a grind, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to come on this platform with you guys, build my platform along the way, and just share the words and information that I'm able to spread to your guys' viewers, and I hope they enjoyed it.
I mean, it's all about humble beginnings. We didn't know how to do anything from jump, like literally from the ground up. Like, I say it all the time. He started out cutting stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this, and he was busy doing it. So okay, well, I'm gonna sit here and figure it out. And now it's like, we make intros, we make graphics, he makes music, we do all these different things. But I think it was all about having like a clear vision of what we wanted to do. Because me and him are looking at each other. We grew up, and you grew up in the same generation where you watched like ESPN and stuff like that when it was still good. Like,
when it was good.
So our perspective was like, well, sports media is kind of crap now. We wanted to give people the analytical, but also the different perspective, like people who genuinely really care. So we always strive to be different than everybody else in everything we do. We don't want to be vanilla. We don't want to be bland. We want to give everybody a fresh face. And we want to be that person's first option if they don't want to if they don't want to pay for an ESPN subscription or Fox Sports or anything, because we want to cover everything. And that's all it's been about, covering the NFL, covering college, covering the draft, covering the Super Bowl,
covering high school.
In high school, and it was a process. And I'm never one to toot my own horn or anything, but we busted our ass. It's just learning because we want people to get that perspective. And when we have guys like you that come on, we want to give you guys the shine, because a lot of people don't know all those things that happen behind closed doors, and they don't know if any of that stuff's possible. So when they hear about your journey and how you busted your butt and you did this, that inspires other people to say, man, I can do that. Or, he transitioned from this field to that field, man, I can do that. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I think that's what it's really about, and giving people genuinely good content with really good replayability.
Yeah, that's that's pretty much what kind of got us to this point, man. Just being original, as us, he might see a game a certain way than I do, right? But you're getting the authenticity of both of us, right? Because we both see different things. He played receiver in high school. I played defensive line, outside linebacker. So I look at defense.
You look at it a different way.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing, man. Like I said, this is a perfect journey for yourself, man, because you got a lot to say, right? And it's important, to hear what you got to say, because unlike us, you played, and that's a perspective that not a lot of people have, right? And it's important for them to understand that when you're speaking, when you're saying these things on social media, right, that you're not just coming from a place of oh, I'm better than you and you know it. I'm just saying how it is. I'm saying what I went through. Hey, anybody on your team, whatever, they could have one experience, but you're speaking from yours, right? So if it's hey, all right, well, hey, Mike Tomlin's a good guy, right? From your point of view, right? And if somebody say, well, I didn't really have a good experience with Mike Tomlin, right? That's their experience versus yours, right? But that doesn't change who you think Mike Tomlin is, right? So that's an important thing. So, like I said, man, we enjoyed this, man, and we hope we can have you on, man. I said, our whole thing goes 365, 366 on a leap year. So we talk about it all, man.
Enjoy it. I appreciate you, fella, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. And if you ever need anything, have any questions, anything, we don't know everything, but we're more than willing to help you get where you got to go. And like you said, we would love to work with you in the future. Never know, keep collaborating or things like that. Whatever works for you. Like I said, I know you're a busy guy, but if we can continue a work relationship, that'd be
sure. Great. For sure. Appreciate it, fellas, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too, brother. Take it easy. Well, they get better and better every week, people. Whether you're watching video, audio, the interviews have just ramped up, and they've been great every week. Breiden Fehoko, oh my gosh, I said his name wrong. We've been talking for almost 2 hours, but that was awesome.
I agree, man.
A unique perspective.
Yeah, man, it was fun, dog. I enjoyed this shit, man. I like it.
279 live viewers.
Yes, sir.
Almost 300.
Yes, sir. We're doing good, man. We're doing good, man. So, like I said, we just hope y'all enjoy these interviews, man. Just keep tuning in, and they're going to keep on getting better. They're going to keep on getting bigger, man. And we're going to keep on doing it, man. Like I said, we are on our road to 40,000. We've seemed to have corrected our subscriber count. So now we're back to 37.3. We on our way to 40,000, man. We
almost 150 million views.
Oh yeah, we on that shit, man. We are on that shit, and we are on that grind, man. So, like I said, and my bad, Terry, man. We wanted to get some of your questions in, but we started talking.
Well, we was chopping it up, bro. We was chopping it up.
Yeah, we was.
I'm not gonna stop them.
Yeah, we was talking ball, man. So, we appreciate all the viewership we've gotten today, man. And it's fun, dog. It's fun as hell. Like I said, I enjoy all of that, man. Like I
But
said, we're gonna keep going, man. Like I said, next week we got some cool shit. We're gonna keep on rocking and keep on rolling.
so next week is still a little in the air. I'm waiting to get confirmation. I don't necessarily want to, it is what it is. I'm not throwing them under the bus. I'm waiting to hear back from Eastern Washington right now. We've been kind of getting the ghost treatment. But if for some reason we can't agree on a time, I'm in the process of working with someone else, a possible current college player. I need to go through my sources. But if for some reason that falls through, we're going to have something. Same place, same time. We still, and outside of next week, you still have another 3, 4, even 5 more interviews. And then it's not the 19th. If you guys are looking for stuff that's not just interviews, something to look forward to, July 26th is going to be where we start the the college breakdowns. So just like last year, we'll start off with the SEC. We'll do the Big Ten, the ACC, and then I think we agreed on the last one. We'll check out the Lone Star and do like all of our playoff and college predictions, and then we'll do a full AFC, NFC breakdown, and then we'll do predictions. And then that following week is week 1 for college football. So we are jam-packed from now till then. Just stay tuned. We do all kinds of stuff on between, whether it's the game streams, we have the polls going on. And if you just want something to pass the time, go check out all the other playlists. You have an interview playlist, you have the older What If series playlists, you have game time playlists, you have different like side series and stuff. Cam did like the time machine and stuff. You can go check that out. Like there's a piece of content for every single person. Help us get to 40,000 subs before the end of the year, and let's just see how we can get these views to, man. 147 million. Couldn't have gotten there without anybody watching across all these platforms. But if you do like this kind of content, smash the like button, especially on YouTube. It really helps get these videos to people who like them. Comment, feel free to comment. We might not be able to reply to everyone, but we read damn near all of them. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Once you subscribe, if you're on YouTube, hit that little bell notification. That way, anytime we go live like this or we drop any sort of content whatsoever, you get a notification before anybody else. So join the movement. Check us out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So, like I said, we got a lot for y'all, man. So y'all keep going, man. We got on the music tip, man. We got some interesting shit, man. Y'all gonna fuck with what I got next, man. Check out the Cam Groves Spotify, man. We'll put that in the description somewhere.
No space in between.
No space. Cam Groves, no space, man. That's another artist.
You see this guy with a pair of headphones on his head.
Yep. Yeah.
Check out Trench Warfare.
Yes, sir. That's just code. But yeah, Father's Day, next release coming out. So y'all gonna enjoy that, man. So if y'all like that classical shit.
Oh, and make sure you guys go check out Breiden Fehoko on X too. He's got his own podcast show. He's got all that. So make sure if you're gonna like and follow our stuff, make sure to go follow him on X too. He's got some really cool stuff to say, and he offers a really unique perspective. So if you're gonna follow and like our stuff, make sure to go follow him as well.
Damn right. So, but all right, man. Hey, it's been fun, and just keep joining the stuff with us. We're gonna get it going. So
Yes,
we'll
sir.
catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.